Guess who's back? Back again. Guess who's back? Not the queen, unfortunately. R.I.P. to her soul. But while we're on the topic, um, there have been mixed reactions to her death or passing away, I should say. And I don't want to sound like that guy, but why was it? I mean, I understand why it's breaking news, but it was to be expected. She was, what, 97 years old? It's not like she was 36. Um, but apparently there was black Twitter and I guess all the rest of Twitter on the reaction of her passing. Especially like African Americans from Africa. And they discussed how the Queen, hurt Africa, stole from Africa, and how she was responsible for a lot of the problems that Africa currently faces. So when she passed away, a lot of people were like, all right, well, all right, and she hasn't really helped our people. And I've seen a lot of memes about Princess Diana. I believe that's her name. I honestly don't even know the story behind that. I don't know what went on, but apparently they're going to be fighting up in heaven, or some people are saying she's not even going to make it to heaven. But on a more interesting topic, on this already interesting topic, there is a black activist who had some interesting words to say about the passing of the Queen, and she's getting a lot of heat for the comments. So I'm gonna put it up so you guys can read it real quick, and then we're gonna go from there. Now look, I wouldn't say it like that personally, but freedom of speech. Sis came off hard. She meant every single last word. And I don't know. Like, it's one of those things where it's like you see what they mean, and then but people are still like, well, you shouldn't say it out in public. So it's like, why is it okay to think something and that's acceptable, but when you actually say it, you're not allowed to? Like, for instance, like if someone's overweight, it's okay for you to notice that and see that they're overweight. But when you say to somebody that you're overweight, maybe you should eat so much, everyone's like, oh my gosh, why would you say that? You're not supposed to say that. I feel like it's one of those circumstances. But let's watch this quick clip about the incident, and let's just go ahead and react to it. All right, let's go ahead and watch this video, from the New Africa channel. See what they got to say about it.
There have been comforting sympathies sent to King Charles, the royal family, and the United Kingdom, along with a mostly resonant show of solidarity. However, some of the messages that were displayed were found to be wholly objectionable. In a tweet that Twitter has subsequently removed, Anya, a professor of applied linguistics from Nigeria, elevated the concept of free speech by referring to the Queen as the chief monarch of a thieving, raping, genocidal empire. Before wishing her
Strong words.
pain, her remarks about the Queen's health ignited a social media outcry.
I'm not gonna lie, the Queen looks blinged out in this photo. That's just an observation.
Storm, and her stance that the British Empire has been a thieving one in its interactions with former colonies has drawn both considerable support and condemnation in response to the tweet. Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world, was one among many who disagreed with her point of view and stated he expected more from an academic. She reiterated her opinion in a second tweet after the tweet was removed for breaking Twitter's terms of service. If anyone expects me to express anything but disdain for the monarch, who supervised a government that sponsored the genocide that massacred and displaced half my family, and the consequences of which those alive today are still trying to overcome, you can keep wishing upon a star, she tweeted.
Now tell me this, does she look like one of those sisters who's going back down? No, she does not. She is not taking back what she said. You can tell. Come on. What did they expect her to be like? Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. My bad. Like, come on now. It's slow. It's slow for you.
Her employer, Carnegie Mellon University, acknowledged her right to free expression in a statement, but also noted that her views did not represent those of the institution. Meanwhile, Trevor Sinclair, a former England international footballer, is the subject of an investigation by his employer because of a tweet he made after the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. In addition to playing for Queen's Park Rangers, West Ham United, and Manchester City throughout a nearly two-decade career, Sinclair, who now works for TalkSport, also earned 12 senior caps for the national team.
So he's in a deep. He played for the national team. You know, he played under what appears to be a what appears to be a team underneath the queen, to my understanding. So let's see what he had to say about it. You'd think he'd probably feel stronger, like more positive towards the queen.
But his own tweet, in which he implied that black and brown people shouldn't need to mourn the death of Elizabeth II because racism had been let to thrive under her reign, incited indignation from listeners of the radio station he works for and sparked controversy. Racism was outlawed in England in the 60s, and it's been allowed to thrive, so why should black and brown mourn? He wrote on his Twitter account. Many users immediately responded to the 49-year-old, requesting that he withdraw his statement, while dozens more called for his dismissal.
So people want him fired over that tweet, huh? Alright.
TalkSport's official account responded to his initial tweet, which has since been deleted along with Sinclair's account, to say that they had been unable to contact him but disagreed with the views expressed, and that they were looking into the matter further.
That's the thing about companies. They never really want to get into a controversial area. They rather be like, we don't agree with their statements. Their statements don't represent our business, role model and stuff like that. Sometimes the CEOs or leaders of the companies actually agree, but they just don't want to put it out there because they're scared of the backlash they'll get.
We have been trying to make contact with Trevor Sinclair, following opinions expressed on his Twitter account. TalkSports does not support those views expressed.
See what I'm saying? Does not support those views expressed and is investigating the matter. What is there to investigate? Like, what are you guys doing?
And is investigating the matter, the agency wrote. Simon Jordan, Sinclair's colleague and the former chairman of Crystal Palace, also commented to denounce the original post, which he described as improper and polarizing. Simon Jordan also wrote, Trev, I'm really not sure that is an appropriate thought, let alone tweet. The country has lost a very significant person, and respect and value should be the overriding sentiments, not division.
That's one of the things, I suppose, with people of color or African descent and I guess European background people, they just view these topics so differently that for one person to say, oh, you shouldn't talk like that, the other person is going to take it offensively, because why wouldn't I? My ancestors were treated this way because of this person. Why shouldn't I be able to say this? And then obviously the other people who might have not been mistreated due to their background are going to have different opinions on the topic. So that's probably where both sides are at right now.
An earlier post from Sinclair's account from 2020 was shared by several people, in which he described the Queen as genuine with humility and stated that Her Majesty still inspired. Sinclair was arrested for drunk driving in 2018 and later pleaded guilty to both that offense and a racially aggravated public order offense after making racist remarks to a police officer on the scene.
Yo, nah, they really went back to my man's history. But yeah, obviously that's not good. But damn.
He was sentenced to 150 hours of community service, as well as a driving prohibition.
want to see what that guy
If
do
you
with the
enjoyed
queen.
this video, watch also the next video.
What do you guys think about the queen's passing? How big or how much of an impact is it to you? I'm assuming those who live, over in England, or is it the UK? I don't remember how it works exactly. Probably gonna feel a lot more stronger about the situation than those, who live in different continents or countries, I should say, to be, correct. Um, I never understood the queen thing because, to my understanding, she doesn't really have much governmental power, anyways. She's more of like a symbol head. And it's always funny because in other countries where there's kings and queens, people look at it like, oh, that's so uncivilized, or whatever the term might be. But like, in these Western countries where there are kings and queens and lords and ladies, people are like, oh my gosh, that's so fancy. So there's definitely a double standard. In my opinion, I feel like any life lost is, always unfortunate. But again, at the same time, she was what, 96, 97 years old. So it was to be expected. Um, I I would think this would be one of those situations that would unite people a little bit better, but clearly that's not what's happening. There's two different sides on this topic, those who are mourning and then those who are, I guess, celebrating. And, each person has their own, I suppose, reason why. What do you guys think? Comment down below. Do you think the queen is overrated, overhyped? Do you think it should be a big situation? Should Is she really just like another person? What do you think? Comment down below. And please tell me more about this Queen and Diana thing, because I really don't understand. And to be honest, I feel like I'm so late to the party. I don't even want to read into it. It's like watching a movie everyone rewatched. I feel like I'm just behind. All right. So see you guys in the next video.